Hey, welcome back to another edition of Avidgolfer Magazine's Drive Time feature. This month, it's always fun when we get to showcase this type of car, this brand. This is a Porsche or a Porsche, whichever way you want to call it. Everybody knows what you're talking about. It's one of the ultimate driving experiences to go through. It has luxury appointments, it's fast, it's engaging, and it's a brand that everybody nods their head and goes, yeah, that's a Porsche. So this is the GTS model of the Macan series, 2021, and it's third in the line. There's a base, there's an S, there's a GTS, and there's a turbo if you want the ultimate 434 horsepower, but it's also starting to get close to 6 figures. So I want to thank the people over at Park Place Porsche over in Dallas on Lemon for the experience, and if you are looking into a model like this, be sure to give them a good look-see. So let's take a long, hard look at the 2021 Porsche Macan GTS. All right, when you look at the front end of the Macan, it has the unmistakable DNA of a Porsche. It's got the long headlights. It'll have 4 corners here that is very noticeable, very unique in the Porsche brand. It's got the badge here, it always looks cool. And it's got some nice airfoils underneath here, diffusers to a little more air in to cool the engine. This is called volcanic metallic black. When you look at it in the right angle, you'll see the flake show up. I think it looks stupendous. It looks really good. And I just think in the front, you go, wow, that, just take it like there. It looks like looks like a Porsche. That's what you want, right? So that's the front. All right, let's take a look at this power plant because it is a Porsche and everybody wants to know what's inside this puppy. This is a 2.9 liter V6, 375 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque, about 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60. Again, for a cargo hauler, pretty darn fast. You also have an adjustable exhaust that's on the console. You can make it a little bit louder, or you can make it nice and quiet if you're getting home in the neighborhood late at night. Gas mileage is okay, not great. About 21 overall, 17, 23. I think when you buy a car like this, you're not so much worried about gas mileage, you're worried about performance and fun. And that's what this delivers. All right, let's take a look at the exterior, mainly the silhouette. If you go by the neighborhood response quotient, when I park this thing in the driveway, these testers, big thumbs up. They love the look of it. It's the first thing they say, wow, that's a good looking ride. And you know what? They have good taste. It is Porsche. I love the lines, how it's streamlined like this. The roof rails are nice and low and aerodynamic. These tires are beefy, 265 45/20s in the front, 295 40/20s in the back, so they're staggered. And I love these brake calipers. You can get them a bunch of different colors too. Porsche will allow you to mix it up a little bit if that is your, that's what you want to do. Nice wide side view mirrors that retract when you're parking somewhere, but you have a nice visibility. And if you had a different color, if this was in white or a lighter color, you would see all these accents here in dark, and I think it's a nice look. It kind of gets lost a little bit in this volcano metallic black, but it also looks more sinister in this color as well. One of the add-on features you get when you get the premium package, it's about $6,600, and it is so worth it. We'll get into some of the other options that are included in that package. One of the things I really love is this panoramic roof. Lets a lot of light in. You can close it off. Obviously, they have a sunshade on the interior. But this goes all the way back, so most of the cabin gets illuminated. It's a good touch. All right, one thing I like about the Macan rear, it's got some really nice aggressive haunches, I would say. They're substantial. They bow out a little bit to cover up these huge tires. Quad exhaust, always a nice touch. This is called a racing diffuser down here. Adds a little bit of different look. Also helps a little bit with the aerodynamics. And then, how's the storage in this thing? Well, it's only 17 cubic inches with the seats up, 52 with the seats down. But all I really care about, can I get my golf clubs in with the driver? Let's take a look. Voila! Yep, get them all in pretty easily too. Put down the rear seats, there's more space, and it folds all the way down, which is a good touch too when you're trying to haul stuff. One other feature about this, has a button, one of the million buttons on this console, is you can raise or lower the chassis. So if you want it lower so you can easily put in heavier stuff, raise it up, whatever you want to do. But I usually keep it low just because it's a little lower center of gravity. It's a bit easier and more fun driving. I read several reviews, and one of the nitpicks about this model is the back seat is kind of cramped. I ain't buying it. I mean, I'm almost 6 feet tall, and my seat is pretty much normal, the driver's seat. I can lay out pretty good here. It's nice and comfortable. I can get my feet underneath the seats. That's always important. Nice and supportive. They're heated back here. You have good clearance on the roof, even with a sunroof. And I find it awesome. I mean, 60-40 split rear seats, as I was showing you earlier, so you can add more storage. It's got an upgraded Bose sound system. It's excellent. That comes with the premium package. Get some nice little carbon fiber trim on the side here. The leather looks good. You can raise these if you want. Passengers don't like the sun beating down on them, even though they're tinted windows. I find this perfectly livable, especially for this size ride. All right, and it has all SUVs have a place you can put your arms down. You got a little cup holders. The temperature back here is great. I mean, the vents are excellent. Again, these are heated, not cooled, but they are heated, and very, very comfortable. I mean, it's good stuff. Nice job, Porsche. All right, let me throw a little trivia out here. Macan comes from the Indonesian meaning of tiger. Not sure how that ties in. Tiger's one of my favorite animals, and this is one of my favorite rides, so it's apropos. But that's where Macan comes from. All right, so the interior, again, it's a Porsche. It's driver orientated. Everything feels perfect. It's right where it should be. The seats are heated and ventilated, meaning actually they're cooled. If I put this thing on full blast, I will feel it, and no back sweat, no discomfort, anything. I love it. I love having options. Interesting thing, another thing about Porsche, people ask, why is the ignition on the left side of the steering wheel? And they also have a key. You can't pull the key out. You don't push it. You just turn it like a regular ignition. The reason Porsche engineers way back in the day came up with that is so you could start the car with your left hand and shift gears with your right when you're starting the car. Not bad, right? So they've just kept it that way. It's one of their DNAs. Everything is on the instrumentation is really nice. I can change these by this little ball right here. I can go to nav. I can do my phone, what station I'm listening to, vehicle stats, temperature, and everything. It also gives me. This is an all-wheel drive car. Another great feature. It gives you a torque split. So if I'm driving, it will sense, it's more rear wheel bias, but if it needs the extra traction, it'll also move 50% to the front. You can see that as you're driving. Cool feature. Again, the carbon fiber trim on the glove compartment, above the glove compartment, and the doors. Really upgraded leather on here, double stitching. You have a cool clock up there. One thing else I find interesting about this, it's got a higher gear stock than most I'm used to. Not saying it's bad or good, because you're probably not going to use it that much. If you're going to shift, probably going to use the paddle shifters here. I just thought it was an interesting design feature. The steering wheel is also heated. If you want to adjust it, it's manual adjust. It's not power. Again, not a big deal. What I find interesting is this. Look at all these buttons. There was actually 2 here and 1 here that aren't used. Almost looks like something out of Predator. Remember when he pulls his arm up and he's got a million different buttons? but they're all useful. What I like about them, you don't have to scroll through a bunch of machinations in the infotainment screen. They're all right here. You can put in, obviously your temps. You can put this thing in sport. You can change the suspension to comfort to sport. You can lower the chassis, like I was telling you earlier, if you want to make it easier to load something in the trunk. You have off-road version. You can have turn off your auto stop, so when you're at a light, sometimes it's a beating, to have the car stop and start again. And you also, here's your exhaust. So I can change the exhaust just by a press of a button. I love that feature because sometimes you just don't want to be too loud, and other times when you're by yourself, you want to kick it in a little bit. And so it's very easy to figure out. The glove compartment, or the center console, decent, not incredibly generous, but it's good enough. And you got two cup holders. And the storage on the side is decent. Again, this isn't a 3-row SUV where you're hauling everything. This is a sports car that will take 5 people and carry some cargo. Again, it's the SUV version of the 911. Here's what I find interesting. If I'm going to nitpick at all, no head-up display. It's not even offered, which I find interesting because I like looking through the windshield. If you're used to it, but you want this car, that would be an adjustment. But again, you get to make that choice. Other than that, again, with the illumination from the sunroof, that's really nice. And other than that, it's just sometimes you get into something, whether it's a Barca lounger or a sofa, and you just sit in and everything just feels right. These are 18-way power seats, so if you can't find the sweet spot, then you have issues, because it should form to anybody's desires. Glove compartment's okay, pretty decent, and that's about it. Again, ventilated, they're heated, they're cooled. You have a multitude of, you have a lumbar support in the back. You also have side bolstering here too. So if you're going to go through the canyons and put it through its paces, you can curve these around your body, and it keeps you nice and planted when you're trying to battle some G-forces. It's all you want. I mean, as soon as I got in this thing, I went, wow, okay, this is put together real nice. I can see why the Macan is the most popular model in the Porsche brand. It's the infotainment screen. Everything is touch screen. There really isn't a way. Some models have or different brands have a little a toggle, a knob. You can go through everything. This is all done through touch, and it's pretty easy, and it's very responsive. So you can put up your phones. You can have apps. You can have it'll bring up the weather if you like to do that. When it loads, gives you all that kind of good stuff. It's also the optional panoramic view. That's the rear. Obviously, I'm in reverse. Here's the front, side if you need it, panoramic front, panoramic rear, and then you have the top. And that's what I like. Now I can find my way into the line, so I'm not intruding in another parking space. And again, these cars are so nice and streamlined, great visibility, but it's kind of hard to tell where the car ends. So that's perfect, nice clear screen. And then, all right, showed you the outside, showed you the inside. Everything is top notch. Everything is definitely Porsche. But how does it drive? Because that's what matters. Let's give it a spin. As I mentioned earlier, the seats are sublime. They're wonderful. They're supportive. They're cushy. They got everything you want. It's a Grand Touring Sport. That's what GTS stands for. And when you test it against these crappy roads in Las Colinas, Texas, I'm amazed. Even in sport, I have the suspension on sport. It soaks up the imperfections beautifully. You barely feel them. But they're engaging enough when you put it in sport that you still feel when you're turning, you don't have that much lean and so forth. Genius engineering. I mean, it really is something. I can see why this Macan, the brand Macan, is the most popular model in the Porsche chain. And again, here's the deal. You're young, single maybe, and you've driven a 911 forever. It's your baby. And now maybe you're starting a family, and maybe you need to carry some babies around and maybe some cargo, and you go, well, that 911 is not quite a daily driver anymore, is it? This fits the bill. It's pretty much got all the driving chops you want. And when you put it in sport, you can even upgrade it. You can get an extra optional package. You can get a sports chronometer package. Gives you Sport Plus. Wind up the engine even more. But even when I punch it, I mean, that's money right there. It's just enough. Most of the time you probably won't be driving like that. But when the mood strikes, it's there for you. And that's all you want. If you want to cruise with your passengers and so forth, you don't want the engine, you don't want the exhaust on very loud, you can turn that off, you can turn it back on. And, this thing is awesome. Again, this is the third in the line of Macans. You have the base, you have the S, you have the GTS, and you have the turbo. They're about $10,000 apart in base cost. If you add the premium package to this, you get the Bose speakers, you get the ventilated seats, the cooling seats, which I have them on right now. I mean, it's 90 degrees here in Texas. It's incredible. It also has heated seats all the way around, so the rears get them nice. Look at this turning radius, 1 lane. Wow. I mean, it's it's good stuff. Visibility is excellent for a smallish ride like this. You have huge side mirrors. There's a lot of glass, not too many blind spots, and yeah, just everything's great. Again, the gas mileage is a little low, 17, 23, but you're not buying this as an economy car. You're buying this as a fun car. And I could take this car on a 3-hour drive and not be tired at all, not be fatigued, not have back pain, because I can adjust it any way I want. The ventilated, cooled seats are incredible, keep me nice and comfy when it's hot. The heated seats work just as well. You can get a heated steering wheel. This is good. This is really good, Porsche. And they'll just keep making this car better and better. Again, the only thing, without the head-up display, kind of wish it had the option for that. Most every other luxury brand does. But, yeah, it's got a nice throaty exhaust. Not too much, just enough you can hear it. A little emotional tie. Hardly any steering lean at all. When you put it in the suspension in sport mode, it's great. And I'm driving over some pretty crummy roads right here. You might be able to hear them, but you don't really feel them. And these are performance tires, big beefies all the way around. So, folks, if you're looking for something that can carry a little bit of cargo, I can get my clubs in without putting down the rear seat. I can get the with driver, full bag. What's not to love? What is not to love? So check it out. I certainly would if you're looking for a rocket crossover with a Porsche DNA. You would be hard pressed to find something that's better than this. And please check it out. Park Place Porsche in Dallas. And there you go. It's the 2021 Porsche Macan GTS. It's the third in the line of 4 different models you can choose from: the base, the S, the GTS, or the turbo. And this one bases at $72,000, nicely appointed with the premium package, which I would strongly recommend. Brings it about to $86,400. The beauty of this is it drives like a Porsche, but you can carry people, you can carry some cargo. It's an awesome daily driver. It's the most popular model in the Porsche brand. And I want to thank the folks over at Park Place Porsche over in Dallas for the experience. Be sure to check it out if you're looking for a great driving experience with some practicality, and it has a Porsche brand on it, badge. This is what you want.